Hi, you're again with Volleyball Explained Podcast. After a while, I'm Bogdan and Ronnie is also here. Nicola is not present, unfortunately, because he should work and not only talk about volleyball, but we are here after some kind of a long pause in order to comment what is happening in the Italian league, because a lot of interesting things actually are happening. And we are in the final phase in the league. LUBE and Perugia had their first match, which has been won by LUBE. But firstly, we are going to talk about the unbelievable, really amazing semifinals. Both of them ended in a fifth game. Both Perugia won against Modena and LUBE won against Trento after trailing two defeats to zero. So, firstly, Ronnie, your overall impressions, and then we're going to analyze more in depth, even though this is not the easiest task in the world.
Well, it has been an entertaining series of matches. Both games going to fight tiebreaker games. So you have Modena and Perugia with all the layout drama, which I think was the decisive point. Even though Modena won without layout one game. And I thought for the first time that Perugia was in real trouble. No, there were I think like many doubts in Circe team. Leon is having a awful season. I believe this is the worst second half of the season that he has he has been playing since he got at the Italian city. On the other hand, you have a really good team of Trentino playing as the champions they once was. Since the semifinal of the Champions League, I mean, this Trentino led by Matej Kasiszki with 37 years of age was something really tough that LUBE had to overcome. And to being honest, at one point, I thought that Trentino would sweep this LUBE Civitanova team because they were nowhere found in the court. Lucarelli playing awful. Marlon didn't respond. The Trentino was really playing very well at defense. So the only weapon that LUBE had this entire season was Simon, and he is a middle blocker, so you cannot really impact into the game with only your position three man. But yeah, it was fun to watch. At the end, the same old team will be at the finals. Yes, LUBE won the first game, but I think will be a very long series of matches. I don't see this ending in 3 or 4 games. Let's see what future holds to both of these teams.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start more in depth with Perugia Modena, because the spiral was the following. All of the games, with the pure exception of the last one, have been won by the visiting team. Firstly Modena, then Perugia, then Modena, and then Perugia again, and eventually Perugia won their home game and won the series. After the first match, which has been won by Modena very dominantly, I believe. I should believe this was the best Modena match in this series, with a very exceptional game by Nimir. But after the game, an incident happened between Leao and Dragan Travica. Leao has been sanctioned for 4 games. Dragan Travica hasn't been sanctioned at all. Leao claimed that that Travitzer insulted him, and that's why he reacted in such a way. But anyway, that's actually some people predicted that this is going to ruin the series, and Perugia will easily win the next 3 games. That didn't happen. Still, there were some ups and downs. Martin van Garderen, who changed Leao, made a very good a third game, and Modena won it. Exceptional game. They even missed some set points in set 1, but then converted it into a tiebreak, I believe, this match. So I'm pretty agree what you mentioned about Perugia. It's a little bit strange because of 4 teams in the semifinals. I should believe that, and I actually think, in my opinion, that Modena was the team which has been organized in the best possible way. I mean, Perugia was a bit like a bunch of great individuals who are not exactly a team. LUBE had their deficits, and Trento relied too much on Matej Kaziski and Alessandro Micheletto when the reception was not that good. And at the end, the individuals of Perugia just prevailed over the Modena, and probably most of the time Nimir and Bruno and Gapet in the absence of Leao. So that's the reason I believe that in the final, Perugia is not that clear favorite as many people would think, because they are not just playing in the way they need, and they could play with all those players. And of course, Modena needed just a bit more in order to win the series and play in the final, but that's didn't happen. What do you think? Do you think that with Leao and without this incident, Modena would have won the series?
I think nothing is 100% sure about them, because you have to respect this Perugia team. They split during the regular season victories and losses versus Modena. And I thought, I really thought coming into this semifinal series that Modena was the only really team to beat Perugia in a series of 5 games. Of course, before that, Trentino did it in a best of 2 matches, including golden set and stuff. But this year, Perugia want to win the Scudetto. It has been like 4 years of LUBE dominance, and they since the Leon arrival, they only won 2 Super Cups and now 2 Coppa Italia trophies, and that's our little things compared to the investment made by Gino on hiring Wilfred Leon and create a team around him. Like for example, he had when he played in Kazan. But I mean, it could be in both ways. It could be good in both ways. Even if Leal wasn't playing, they managed to lose the game in Paolo Panini in a tiebreak. So that's something. And then they won again at Palabarton in tiebreak with a super performance of Nimir. But of course, you need to bring all your guns to try to close it. And it's funny because Leal sanction was good in the half. He only served two games as sanction, and when he go back, he come back. There wasn't too much of his game. I mean, he injured his knee, He was feeling a little bit down, and he didn't play, I think, in the last game. So for me,
Yeah, he
Leal,
didn't play really. He was for a bit in the at the court at the fourth game, and then he has been substituted by
so for me,
Angara.
Leal, yes, put things really hard for this Modena team, but in the end, Modena proved that they could win without Leal, but they fell short. They fell short because we all know that it's almost impossible to replicate a super performance like Nimir had in the third game. It's one of those games that you really do everything really good, and of course have a very a big luck, because this is a sport. You can be good, but if you don't have your day, maybe you can score 20 points or 25, but have a bad attack percentage. And that day, well, you see the numbers, and Nimir really play the game of the season. I, I believe for Modena. Um, that didn't happen in game four, and game four. Uh, yes, game four
Yeah.
and five, I think. Uh, yeah, nothing more to comment. I think Modena really did a very awful season, even worse than the Trentino one last year. Too many stars for me, too many overrated stars like Bruno, which hasn't been at his prime since I believe 2016. I mean, he was something in the when he went to LUBE, then he won in Brazil. But you know how it is, Brazil, a league of two teams only. And Engaped, who hype comes from he winning the Olympic Games that till this day I compare him to the 2018 World Championship when the non-favorites team won it. So you can say that they only care about the numbers to have instead of having uh, a team which players can perform well and do his job. Like for example, for me, and I'm not saying because he's Cuban, but for me, the man of this season has been Roberlando Simon, which I think we can see all his games in Serie A only, and it is rare him to have a bad game, even more than Wilfredo Leon. I think in counterpart, I see that this is the worst season of Leon as a professional, and the best, and one of the best. Let's say one of the best of Simon playing. So I don't know. The final series started. It is pretty bit soon to say who is gonna win. Perugia is still favorite because I think LUBE have to play 110% to win it, and Perugia can play bad and they still can win. So that's the main difference. But yesterday they were nowhere to be found, and even when they lead 2-1, I saw doubt on their faces. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, you mentioned Simon. Let's start talking about the match between LUBE and Trento, because the series developed in a very interesting, curious way. Trento won the first two games, and then LUBE just turned everything around and won the series. Trento was pretty much fantastic, especially in the second match. They won 3-0. They were receiving very good. They used their middle slot, and that was actually the most important thing to do, because we know that this season, when Trento is not receiving good, they're only setting in position 4. And actually, I believe this is what happened in the next matches, all of them, more or less. And of course, in different periods of the match, actually they won. They were leading 2-1 in the fifth game, and then still lost it. And on the other way around, Simon was actually the man who changed everything, because he scored 20 points in the fourth game. He scored 20 points in the fifth game. Amazing, really, and actually taking into account his numbers before that during the regular season, actually his numbers in these two matches are actually better, higher than the numbers in attack, in blocking, and in serving in terms of aces when it comes to the regular season. So Simon improved his game a lot. Of course, it's not able to. A middle blocker is virtually not able to win by himself. I believe that Lucarelli and Jans, but also when they entered the court, Gabi Garcia and Tirji Kovar were pretty much great, especially Kovar. He's a player we are used to cover him in terms of reception, improving reception, but this time he was also important and attacked in very important moments. And Gabi Garcia, even though he's a rookie in the championship and coming from the NCAA, he also had his great moments. And just again, some words about Trento, because I still believe that they have a very big problem with their system without the typical opposite. Yes, people will say that they are in the final of the Champions League. They almost got into the final in the league. They won the Super Cup. But I still believe that in a series of matches, one after the other, the system couldn't work because they just don't have this variety of options in attack, which could actually help them to win more consistently. And especially in the fifth game, they relied too much on Matej Kaziski. I believe he received 44 sets in comparison to 19 to Alessandro Micheletto. The middles were not that effective. Again, also to the weaker reception than in principle. So yeah, and I believe that at the end that was a deserved result for Lube. What do you think?
Well, if we talk about the figure of Simon in Civitanova and how great he is, we cannot forget the special player that Matej Kaziski is and was in the past decade. For those who don't know who is Matej Kaziski, you can Google and YouTube, look for YouTube videos of him, and some people say that how is this possible of a play or a 37 years old player performing like this. And I think he has to do with the fact that Matej has been absent from national teams like almost a decade, and
yeah.
And
it will be a decade this year. Yeah.
He could rest more at the summers, prepare better his body to the professional season. Then he spent a lot of years, I believe 3 or 4 years in Japan, which helped him because maybe Japan is a very demanding league in terms of physicality, but it is not so hard technically. So the mentality going into a game is different than if you play, for example, in Italy or Poland or Russia. Yeah, he let's say he had his time to work things around and prepare physically and mentally to be at the best shape possible for this season. So it's sad because one of the teams have to lose, but I don't think without Matej, Trentino have been going so far in this competition or in any other one. they won the Super Cup already, and even if people say that Saxa is the main favorite going to this Champions League, you know, and I know that Matei is a man of finals, and he can really bring this title. Um, he will be like almost a month off to prepare this match versus Saxa. I see that this is the same thing that happened last season, and I don't know if this will be a good thing for them or bad, because they will be uh, um, like 2 weeks off without playing any game. So let's see what happens. And on the other hand, like you say, a middle blocker can win it all by himself, but without Juan Torena this season, without Kovar also, which have been injured too. Ivan not playing like Ivan the Terrible, more like Ivan the Soft. He
Actually, it's Ivan the Terrible, but literally.
You know what I mean. I know what you mean. Yes, he has been awful this season. We all know that the injury took the best of him. Let's see if this summer he can recover. I don't know why I saw a post from FIPAP, the Federation, the Italian Federation Volleyball, saying that he was called up by De Giorgi to the national team because this man really cannot perform. He needs at least 1 month to rest, and then if they need it, call him into the World Championship. Let's see, but I don't think this is the correct way or approach to 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 this men which have I think 33 or 32 years old. Well, it is the same. And then of course the arise of Marlon Yant. We have watching all this season the young players step up and live that the words meet him, like Rokmosic, Micheleto. Of course, we all know which Micheleto. Also, your guy from Monza, he doesn't have the same amount of opportunity that these three young men have. But with the time, I think Karyagin can be someone. Is you have to give time. Maybe I don't think Monza is the best team because they always aim to be at the first 5 positions in the league, and that's something that you cannot rely on young players. But with all the changes coming on from next season, the possible of retirement of Orduna, Saborno going to a better team, maybe it's time to give this kid more opportunity if he decide to stay, of course. Grosdano also, I don't know where he's going to be next season, but Bulgaria is going to some places and they are rebuilding the national team. It will be very hard for them to aspire to be at Paris. I think it's almost an impossible task due to the new Olympic qualification system based on world rankings. But Marlon, Micheleto, and Mosic has been really great this season, one more than other. And yes, like you mentioned, Gavi step up in game 5, and with the help of Kovar, of course. I really have my doubts coming to the first game of the final, but at the end, Blengini knew that he was going to start with Marlon because I think he is the high ball spiker, even when Lucarelli have his moments, And for me, it is what it is. Lucarelli hasn't been that showman that he is in the Brazilian team since he got to Italy. We all know what happened last season with his father, and maybe that's why, or who knows. But uh, I think, and I mentioned this many times, he don't really his value is not what he's receiving at this moment. I don't have the exact numbers, but he's receiving way more than he deserves. So his offensive contribution to this team has fell short, and you can see it by the numbers. It is true that at this playoff he has been performing really well, with exception of one match who he scored 18% of attack percentage, 18 only for a player like of his caliber. I believe it was at second game of the semifinal. But well, Lube, like I mentioned before, Lube have to play 110% to be a contender. The other team, we only play at 18 or 85. They have it. So yeah.
Let's share some words for the leg one of the final. We mentioned, of course, that Lube won it 3-2, and actually the team switched sides in several sets, and they were superior in one set. Then they didn't play that well. For example, Perugia scored 8 kill blocks in set 2. Lube won easily the first one, and then in set 3, Perugia won it. A lot of mistakes by Lube, and then of course in set 4, great serving by Lube. And in set 4, I would like to underline one situation that was crucial for the game. 12-0. Leon serving in a very easy situation, which I believe Marlon Jans just almost tipped the ball in the court in the half of Lube, and Kamil Rychlicki was just not able to process the ball, and he made a direct error. The result became 13-12. Then, in a very easy situation, Rychlicki again was not able to convert the attack. Lube scored in a counter attack, and that was almost, because then Lube won it in their side out attack. You mentioned the 110%, and yeah, I could totally agree with you on that matter.
The talent, what happened. The talent is on the Perugia side. You have Wilfredo Leon, which by any means can be discarded from this series. You have Kamil Rychlicki, Matthew Anderson, who have been crucial to take that amount of responsibility of Wilfredo this season. And then you have decent middle blockers. I mean, overall, I think Perugia has or have more guns than this Lube team, which have a really injured opposite, young outside hitter like Marlon Jan, who you cannot predict how it's gonna go in a match, because youngsters really tend to perform well, and the other day they forgot what they did well in the last game, and it's a gamble move. Then you have Lucarelli, which have been really dubious since he got to Italy. And of course, the only weapon you can rely on is Simon. And we saw what happened. Well, the Checo is the only setter, I think, who can bring the match point or clutch point set to Simon. And Simon can deliver. So no one in the world of volley give his match ball or set balls or whatever to a middle blocker. I think Simon at this aspect is really good because he is a experienced player. He have almost 10 years over his belt. He started very late his professional career, I believe, with 25 years or 24. But he was always special since you have the opportunity to see it when he was playing with Cuba at the late 2000s, the first decade of this millennium. And yeah, today we can say with any doubt that I don't know, this year, this professional season, the best player, the most impactful player on a court is Roland Simon, and I don't have any fear to say it. Maybe, I don't know, he tends to be underrated sometimes, but I think he is the nature of a middle blocker. They don't receive too much attention from the media or the uh, volleyball fans overall. That always goes to an outside hitter or opposite, but he can play like both. So you mentioned this play. Well, like my take in Trentino, he has been the leader, and my problem with him is that he doesn't want to be the leader, but sometimes he have to step up. If you recall the third game of the semifinal, which I think it was the pivotal game, because after LUBE won, Simon gathered the team in the middle of the court and scream and say, "We can do this, and we will do it." And so, from that moment, I thought maybe it's possible for a comeback. I think in the third game, Trentino could push it a little bit more, but they were thinking only that we have a 2 games advantage. We will rest this and we will try to win it at home. And versus this LUBE Civitanova team, you cannot commit mistakes, because they can wake up at any moment. Of course, but then I believe that Perugia still the favorites to win this semifinal, this final series, and they will give it all at the second game, because once more they start losing the series. So we know that Perugia can play from behind, and if I were Blengini, I think this second game will decide everything, because no team has been pushing Perugia so far, other than Trentino, of course, in Champions League. But like you mentioned, that was a 2 games series. 5-game series is a little bit different, so let's see. I think if LUBE win it, it will be very hard for Perugia to come back, because they only bet that Wilfredo Leon will be ready, and let's see, Wilfredo Leon only impactful play this year has coming from the serve line, and he scored more errors than aces like everybody else. So I don't know if it is a good move to rely only on Wilfredo's serve. Like, for example, yesterday he had the opportunity to come back like he always do, and let's not say that Marlon received perfect, but he kept the ball in the air, and that leave LUBE the chance to make an offensive play. So I don't know if Wilfredo's serve will be enough.
Yeah, let's put the stop here. I believe that we were quite extensive. Let's just mention that that in the Polish final, Zaksa will face again Jastrzębski like in the final during the last season. And in the women's final in Italy, Imoco Volley Conegliano lost to Monza in their first match, which was pretty much of a surprise, but still nothing is decided until everything is decided. Just like in the men's final, we could make the next podcast after the end in the final series, which could be after 2 games, it could be after 4 games. It could be also, of course, after 3 games. And then, of course, very close to the Champions League final, we are going also to comment on the Champions League finals between Zaksa and Trento, and, of course, Bank against Conegliano, which is not also a surprise. Until the next time, bye-bye. Subscribe to Volleyball Explained YouTube channel, subscribe to Cuban Spike YouTube channel, and also follow LUBE Volley in Facebook, the page of Nicola. Bye-bye, and see you next time. Bye.